All right, we're going to do something a little different from what I usually do. I picked up this LG, I think it's like an A906 or something like that. Cordzero, not a compressor model, and it just has the basic stand on it. Picked this up off Marketplace. It was at a pretty low price, and I was like, ooh, it's like I've wanted to try one of these out for a while. So I went and got it as soon as I could, and it ended up needing a bit more than I was really anticipating to have to put into it. Because, well, we'll go over the machine a little bit here. So, it had a HEPA filter on it, but it kind of smelled like dog to me. And they said, it needed to be cleaned out. And I figured, oh, I can probably just clean this filter. But this, this doesn't seem to come apart. So I ended up having to order a replacement for it. And it's like, okay, a replacement filter, that's not terrible. It came with two of these cloth filters. And down here, we can see the motor. And I did do some disassembly on this unit. So I can show you what the motor looks like. Yeah, it's, not huge, but it's a stick vac. So it is what it is. But yeah, the air path here is a little bit funny because the air from the cyclone, because it is a cyclonic assembly here, comes in through these three slots, passes through the filter, goes into the motor, and then it's pushed out the outer channel here through the HEPA filter and out through the top. And the other part of this I had to replace was the batteries. It's like one of them, if you put this thing into turbo mode, would only last for like a few seconds, and it's like, that's not going to work. So, yeah, needed to put batteries into it, needed to put, and I got two batteries, because one attaches to the machine, the other one stays in the stand, and you can charge them both at the same time, which is pretty cool. And one of the nice things about this is you can actually take this, you can take the cyclone assembly right out. There we go. You can take this right out and you can wash it. Now, I would have liked if this dust cup was removable. That would have been nice, because I can see little bits up here that I can't really get to. And they actually make the crevice tool with these little notches you're supposed to insert into the cyclone to give it a twist and remove it. So that was kind of interesting. But, I already have two of the Dyson hand vacs already. I have a V8 and a V11, so having already experienced, other cordless stick vacuums, I wasn't super impressed with this thing, and truth be told, I barely used it. In fact, once I'm done testing it, it's probably going to go up for sale. I'm hoping, with all the parts I had to put into it, that I can just get my money back on it. But, we'll see. Figured I'd get the filter back on in a better way. It looked a little bit funny that way. But the nice thing about the LG here is you don't have to sit there and hold the trigger down. I know that's not an issue on some of the newer Dysons. So you have your main on-off switch here. And then you have your three modes. If you just push this, you're into turbo. And if you hold it, it goes into its max power mode. And it came with some tools, so you have your combination upholstery and dusting brush, you have your crevice tool, it came with a soft roller type of thing, which it doesn't seem like this was really used. I can't imagine they would have actually gotten it cleaned up that well. And then we had the main carpet head with, actually I'm not sure if these are, yeah, I guess these are multiple types of brushes. So we have kind of like Dyson, but I suppose, kind of a rip-off of them. Or maybe I shouldn't say that, but I don't know. A lot of things, a lot of other companies do remind me of Dyson. It seems like they were kind of the pioneer for this type of stick. And then we have a telescopic wand, which I wish was a little bit taller than it is, but you know, it's still kind of nice to be able to adjust that versus just having the one size. And yeah, we're just going to take measurements from the body, from the wand, and then from the main head here. It's like I am not going to try to seal this to the airflow box. That just seems like a pain. So I suppose, you know, we can't measure power usage with this thing, so let's get on with the flow testing and otherwise. And 35 to 32 millimeter adapter, it's close, but not quite. So we're going to apply a little bit of tape. It's almost like this is a 34 millimeter connector. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Because it tapers up a little bit. Well, a little bit of tape will still be used. Alright, we'll start off in low. Switch it to high. And finally to turbo. Yeah, that turbo mode really eats power. Just like a lot of other sticks, this thing does not have a lot of battery life in its highest power mode. So I'm hoping between the two batteries I can get through all this testing before they both die. And I will say, before we begin the suction testing on this here, this thing does like automatically adjust the suction up if it's clogged. I'm guessing trying to clear itself, and then it pulses. So I don't know how that portion of the testing is actually going to go, but we'll still try to do it. You know, it might work, it might not, but we'll see. All right, let's try the suction. Yeah, it was about to pulse up, so had to act quick. There it goes. Yeah, it does not like the suction gauge or just generally being clogged. A lot of the stickbacks don't. You know, a Dyson pulses when it's clogged, so yeah, you know, probably not going to get the best results on that, but whatever. Alright, we've seemingly got this fairly level, and the wand is extended as far as it can go, so let's measure the flow at the end of this wand. You know, surprisingly, this is one of the few vacuums the cat doesn't mind. He usually runs off the moment one of them's on. Alright, and we'll give the suction at the end of the wand a try. Yeah, it's always hard to tell when to pull back on this because, I mean, you know, I don't want to misrepresent the suction numbers by, you know, kind of letting it go into that pulse, but I kind of feel like I might be pulling it a little bit early. So I'm going to do a quick check of the battery indicator here, and then we'll put it on the box. The one nice thing about such, like, deep heads is you don't really need that front strip. It just kind of lays nice and flat over the whole thing. So hopefully we have this thing sealed up as well as possible, and we're going to take the airflow measurements and then attempt to take the suction measurements. Well, I will say it has a very good retention of its airflow. So let's kick it up to medium. Oh, maybe not. All right, we're up to medium. And we're up to high. All right, we've got a blinking bar on the battery indicator, so let's try to do this. I probably shouldn't have that as covered as I do, because that probably acts as like a cooling vent. Turn it up. Whoops. Alright, so I just barely beat the battery timer. We're going to try to do this with all the speeds just so we can see if there's a clear difference between them. I would assume with surface litter like this there probably won't be, but who knows. So we'll start off in low, switch to medium, and then into high. The low one, just a little bit left behind, nothing much, but it looked like we got a pretty clean sweep with both the medium and like the max power, although I really don't know that I can call that a medium power since it's really not far from the max power, so it's almost like a low, a high, and a max. But, you know, I've had my Dysons for a while, so I guess I don't feel like this is a bad unit by any means, but there are definitely certain features that my Dysons have that this one doesn't. Like the clean out on the V8, you know, since it slides the separator through that little seal or whatever and kind of knocks stuff out of the bins. It's like I find myself missing that feature in the LG. Although I think their compressor models, because they have like a little slide on them, I think that kind of performs the same function. So, I mean, that would push stuff out of the bin so you wouldn't have to dig it out by hand. Otherwise, they also offer their, God, I can't remember what they call them, a clean station, a dock, or whatever, that sucks all the debris out of there into a bag. At least I think it's a bag with them. There's a few companies out there that are doing those towers, and a lot of them are bagless, but I think LG's is bagged. And they've also come out with a new floor head that's a dual roller, kind of like the Shark. God, what do they call it? Duo Clean. They call it like Floor Max or Dual Sense or oh, I can't remember at the moment. I just took a look at a demo unit on the floor at Best Buy, and it's kind of like, huh. Although, I can't help but wonder if it's kind of like Shark as to where that design is going to prove a little bit faulty. Because, I mean, the more complex you make something, the more problems it can potentially have. But all that said, I don't feel like this is a bad competitor to Dyson. I mean, you could certainly do a lot worse with one of the off-brand. So many of those off-brand machines out there these days. You could do a lot worse than an LG. At least I think so. And if you can find a good part supplier, they're not terribly expensive, and you're going to be able to find parts a lot easier for a major name like LG than you will for a lot of the others. So definitely not a bad machine, but I give a slight edge to the Dyson handhelds.